Let's just move forward and talk about something that I know one of us is extremely excited to talk about.
Bye, guys. I got to go.
And the other of us will exist during this conversation. And that, of course, is Swamp Thing. I honestly cannot believe that we've been doing the show for 6 years, and this is how long it took for us to really talk about Swamp Thing, because Adam Gertler reps Swamp Thing harder than anything I've ever seen in my life. Yes, that is right. We are talking about the movie, what is it, 82? 1982.
82.
And Adam, I will give you the floor to start. We all rewatched it, and did it live up to the hype that you'd built up in your head, Adam Gertler?
So this was a favorite movie of mine as a child. I was obsessed with green monsters. I've said this before in the show. My big three: Godzilla, Swamp Thing, The Incredible Hulk, right? The 80s Hulk show. This was like the beginning of my love of superheroes, which has been around forever. I have not seen the Swamp Thing movie in probably over 20 years. It is an awful movie, no doubt. Some of my favorite parts were the parts that I remembered, like Swamp Thing regrowing his arm and some of the monster transformations, which I remember as being really scary. And guess what? They were still kind of scary, a couple of them. But man, this is such a terrible movie and nothing really happens. And I know we got to talk about the love interest because it's kind of a love story and it is comical, the setup of those characters. And how
Roxy's
females
got thoughts.
I couldn't believe
like a guy
it.
in a green garbage bag.
I could not believe this movie.
Why, Rox?
I mean, well, first of all, the first kiss that we get in this movie was so out of left field.
Yeah.
That I don't even know what happened. Like, all of a sudden they were kissing. I mean, the fact that there's that thing at the beginning where we think that the siblings are married, but then they're not, and it takes you a second to adjust, and then like he never corrects her, and then he's sucking face with her. I mean, it's so crazy. And then the amount of violence toward, what is the main girl's name? What is her name?
Cable.
She's like a female version of Matt Cable from the comics.
Okay, yeah, Cable. Sure. She gets the living crap kicked out of her time and time again. She's also so stupid at times. Like when she just like calls, I mean, there's so many issues with this movie. I enjoyed myself a little bit watching because it was so crazy that I was just like, what is happening? And also the guy that works at the store that she befriends, Johnny, I know you love him.
Just wait.
He has my whole heart. He's by far and away the best character in the movie. The movie dies when he dies. It just like for a second. This was tough. This was woof. Johnny,
little Bruno.
What's his name? Jude.
I
thought they were calling him Jew for a really long time, and I was like, oh, part of the tribe. Johnny, you take it. Go ahead.
Okay, well, first off, in response to you saying that the first kiss was so abruptly, I actually found out there was a lot of footage that did not get included. What I'm saying is we need the Wes Craven cut. All right, I'm kidding.
Release the Craven cut.
Just kidding. So I'm going to start off with the good. The good was the unsung hero of this film. My favorite character, Reggie Batts, playing the aforementioned Jude. Was he the owner and operator of a convenience store at 12? Apparently he was, and I support him in that. What blew my mind is not only was this kid just adorable and likable and saved the day, Swamp Thing is his only credit on IMDb. And I tried to research why. I cannot find anything on him.
He made this movie. He's like, nope, I'm out. Ain't doing these again.
I'm blown away by it. I mean, this is Swamp Thing. This was Wes Craven. This was DC. You would have thought he could have just fell into roles after this. I don't know what happened. Maybe he decided to walk away at 13 or however old he was. Could not believe that was his only credit. Reggie Batts, if you're out there, come on the show.
Hell yeah.
Come on the show. Also, shout out to when Hollywood had no idea how to light anybody who isn't a very white person. There were so many scenes where I was like, the lighting here, come on, friends. Mike,
Yeah.
not a Swamp Thing fan.
Well, I'll tell you this.
gauge.
I saw this movie. I didn't see it in theaters, of course, but I remember it must have caught on HBO. And as a preteen boy or whatever, how old I was, Adrian Barbeau and that wet T-shirt, the Swamp Man, it just hit the right buttons for me as a kid. It was like, that's what I was watching it for. I remember Pig Boy creeped me out at the end, that little thing he turned into. And I think that was the same guy in RoboCop. God, I forgot his name. He was the guy that gets melted in RoboCop. For some reason, I think it's the same guy. Now, Ray Wise, who plays Holland, he was, of course, in RoboCop. Ray Wise is a great guy.
Yeah.
I got to actually work with him on a project.
No way.
Yeah, it's not released yet, and I can't talk about it. But yeah, I got to work with Ray Wise, who was awesome.
Was one of the thugs in RoboCop, right?
Yeah, but wasn't the guy that turned into the pig and they let him loose in the swamp? Wasn't he the guy that gets melted in RoboCop?
I don't think so.
It looks similar to me.
That dining room scene was crazy.
But like Louis Jourdan is the bad guy. Now I loved him from he was in Octopussy. Kamal Khan in Octopussy. So I knew him from that. So I saw him later. I must have seen this movie on HBO as a kid. And as a kid, I liked it. I remember the scene where he's growing his hand back in the light and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a different time for comic book movies, but I thought it was, I don't know. It's one of those things as a kid you watch and you're kind of cool, but you watch it now and you're just like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is awful.
Mikey,
yeah, buddy.
Like from a budgetary standpoint, like I compared it to the Hulk before, which was obviously a TV show.
Yeah.
I think the Hulk holds up so much better just because like it's Luke in his actual body and the guy's Adonis. So it's like when you had the close-up shots of Swamp Thing, not too bad.
No.
But the far shots, he's wearing a trash suit. Like it's ridiculous.
I remember, Adam, you might remember this, the Swamp Thing TV series in the mid 90s, because that filmed in Orlando. I lived in Florida at the time, and I remember going to I think it was going to like MGM Studios or something, and said, and here's the sets from Swamp Thing. And they had those great shows in the mid 90s. They had Superboy, and all of them filmed in Florida where I live.
The same actor, Dick Durock, played Swamp Thing in both movies and the series.
Did he really?
Yeah. Same guy in the suit. And obviously Return of the Swamp Thing has a much better suit.
Yeah, and that's that. Now they brought in Abby Arcane for that, I believe. I think it was Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
What year is that?
89.
Well, we'll
not
get to
directed
that.
by Wes Craven.
We will get to that. So overall, we haven't been doing this so far, even though we've been binging through all the movies in order. But I want to start doing this. I'm going to ask you guys to rank this movie out of 10. What does Swamp Thing get for you? All things considered. Adam, I'm coming to you as the lover. You set the bar.
Yeah, I mean, just because of my youth and like I'm wearing my oldest Batman t-shirt to remember, Superman 2 is another one we talked about that was like, wow, so much better in my imagination, which just goes to show when you're a kid, you can fill in all the gaps and you're so optimistic. You don't need to be so overly critical about things. You're like, this gives me enough and my fantastical brain can take it the rest of the way. I will give Swamp Thing 5.5 out of 10. Just crossing over the 50% mark.
All right. So it was a little better than it was bad. Mikey, what about you?
Oh God. Jesus. I want to. It's a film. Wes Craven made it. The cast is 100. Here's the thing: the cast is 100% on board with this film. You can't see anyone phoning it in. I give it a 2.5, just because this guy had to sit in a rubber suit in the middle of a swamp. They probably filmed it in Louisiana or something. It was probably awful to film. So I give that credit. I give a little bit of a 2.5 because Adrian Barbeau helped, as a young kid, awaken my desires and whatnot. So that's about all it gets.
Okay, Johnny.
I can't talk about stuff like that.
Well, I just don't like
I'm
how
sorry.
you phrased it.
I'm sorry. We're such a puritanical society.
I just don't like the fulfilling my desires phrasing.
It gave me. How about a half chub, Rock? Is that better?
No.
I give it 2.5 chubs.
Somehow it's worse.
2.5 chubs this thing gets. It's a half chub. 2.5 half chubs.
I want you to know that you are talking about Swamp Thing still.
No, I'm talking about Adrian Barbeau and Swamp Thing.
How am I supposed to rank it now? I don't
half
know.
chubs.
Okay. Well, okay. I will say, as insane as the first 77 minutes were. The final 10 minutes of Swamp Thing may have been, and I've not seen every film ever made, may have been the dumbest 10 minutes in the history of film.
Yeah, I don't actually know that I understand what happened in the last few minutes of the movie. It kind of ends in the middle of it. They're still talking. So,
but, and also, you know, Mikey said, he brought up a good point. He said none of the actors mailed it in. It didn't mean all the actors were good. To me, Reggie Batts was a better actor than half of the adults on this film. So there's that. But because I'm a sucker for a good old-fashioned pull the face off trick, which happened
that did happen. That did happen.
If Gertler's going to give it a 5.5 and Mikey's going to give it 2.5 half chub, or what, I'm not sure what he said. I'm going to go 5.75.
You're telling me, Johnny, that you like this movie better than Adam does?
Yes, just because I love absurdity. I appreciate it was 38 years ago and they took this film so seriously, but now it's like Mystery Science Theater, you know?
Yeah. For me, this is the most solid 4 I've seen in quite some time. This movie's a 4 if I've ever seen one. We haven't checked in with our producer, Ryan Nilsson. Did you end up watching Swamp Thing?
I unfortunately missed it this week.
Happy to know.
He did tell me he didn't watch it.
Oh, is that true? He was too embarrassed to come on. He didn't want to admit to Adam that he didn't see it.
I did not watch it.
Ryan's like, oh, Adam will never forgive me. Or apparently now Johnny, who's the bigger Swamp Thing stan. All right, well, maybe we'll get your rating in the future. But Ryan, something I do want to ask you also, because I know you made that list for us. What is our next movie up after Swamp Thing?
Next week is Superman 3. Christopher Reeve's Superman 3 with Richard Pryor.
Oh boy.
Superman 3, the excitement in Mikey's face. Making our way
I'll do it for the show.
Hey, at least it's not for the show. At least it's not Nuclear Man yet, you know?
I'm loving this. I'm loving going through with you guys.
In any Superman film, Clark versus Kal-El is just one of the best.
That stuff is pretty good. That stuff is really good.
I love it. I love
it's really well done.
Okay. So yeah, you feel me. That's about it.
If you guys at home are loving us go through this, then make sure you thumbs up this video. If you guys get a half chub from watching Swamp Thing, then make sure you thumbs up this video. If you are happy that Jonny LoQuasto is back on this squad, then thumbs up this video. That's a lot of thumbs up we got going on. Appreciate you guys all joining us live. So many people coming into the show today. Shout out to all of you guys for being here. We are live every single Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time on the Popcorn Talk Network. So join us then. Until next week, Johnny, where can the people keep up with you?
At Jay Quasto on all social media platforms, ladies and gentlemen. And also, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube page, I do this little show called Triple Threat. That's a lot of fun with some really cool people.
Mikey settled into his hands on his chin. Where can the people keep up with you?
You can find me at Twitter at Mike Kalinowski _. It's just kind of funny with Twitter. People can say things like what people said last night and don't get blocked and their accounts suspended, but I did. Yeah. So Mike Kalinowski _.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about now.
You're glad you weren't on Twitter last night.
No, trust me,
I launched my new website. I found out my company didn't tell me that was hosting my website that they were closing. They went out of business 2 months ago, and they kept our sites running for 2 months free of charge, but didn't realize that. So I had to go back and I built an entire new website, still at www.mikekalinowski.com, but I love it. It's beautiful. It's got graphics and everything. It's pretty awesome. So that's where you can find me too. Wix. I know we're not. Wix? I don't know what it's for sponsors, but whatever. I asked people I went on Twitter. I was like, "Hey, what do you guys have for your websites?" And it was one of the most easiest things I've did. But it's beautiful. It looks great.
Love that.
So www.mikekalinowski.com just launched yesterday. So
Mr. Gertler.
Yo,
where can everybody keep up with you, and eat your sausages,
at Adam Gertler. Not banned from Twitter. Never been that controversial before. I'll try harder. Instagram, Doghouse. Go to your local Doghouse. We have the best sausages, burgers, chicken sandwiches. What's up?
We had it last night, buddy.
You did?
Yeah, we found out the one next to us in Burbank was finally open for takeout. They opened like a week ago. Let me tell you something. I'm going to give a shout out to you guys. Your packaging for to-go was the best packaging I've ever seen in my life. Have you seen what their packaging is? You got to have seen it. Like the boxes. but they're like you slide the tray with
It
the.
is
with
very
the-
innovative to have boxes.
Yeah.
keep talking. Hold on a second.
Okay. Yeah. I can't believe he's going to shout out our packaging right now. This is amazing.
I love that too. But also, don't you wish that he got it from your doghouse? Just wondering.
Oh, no, because that's closer to him. Like, it's all good. I mean, listen, I support the whole company, our store. We're doing great right now. I want them all to do great. I'm really happy.
It
for them.
deserves to
Came
be
back
said.
empty-handed. Oh no, there we go.
It's like a thing, and you pull it out, and then the tater tots are like in a little tray that comes out. And it's all in the box. It doesn't get squished. Burgers always get squished when you order them to go. This place has it going on, man.
What do they
Sorry,
think
I had
of
to give a
next?
shout out.
He's got it
It's
going
fantastic.
on.
Our meal
Love
was
it,
fresh. It was hot, and it was a perfect tray and a perfect plate.
We
Well
do-
done, Doghouse.
We have to get out.